The Knicks are 6-11 in their last 17 games. They just got beat wire to wire by the Dallas Mavericks without their top players. Jalen Brunson called a players-only meeting, and now we have major reports coming out that Leon Rose and the Knicks are shopping Karl-Anthony Towns. A lot to dive into on today's show, but I want you to get down in the comments section and answer this question. Should the Knicks trade Karl-Anthony Towns? Type T for trade, type K for keep. This is New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green, and it feels like the Knicks are at rock bottom. Not only are they 6-11 in their last 17 games, they are what? 2-8 in their last 10, maybe even 1-9 at this point. And now reports are coming out that the Knicks have talked to not one, not two, not three, but 4 different teams about a potential Towns trade. We'll tell you where those are. But first, I want to give a shout out to Steve Popper of Newsday, who had this report saying, whispers around the league have begun to speculate about the possibility of the Knicks moving on from Karl-Anthony Towns. According to one league source, the Knicks have not shopped Towns or brought him up with any team. He added that to his article this morning. He also says his name surfaced when the Bucks and Knicks discussed the chance of a deal involving Giannis. But now league sources said talks have involved other teams, including Memphis, Orlando, and Charlotte. And here we are. Welcome to NBA trade season. When you lose as many games as the Knicks have in the last month, there's going to be talks of, is this the right roster? And if the answer is no, how can we make deals to fix this roster? And the Knicks don't have much time. It's what? January 20th? Trade deadline is February 5th. So what? You have 16 days until the NBA trade deadline to figure out what you need to do. And I'll tell you this. The Knicks, they have to do something. They owe us that. They owe you that. They owe you their word. And their word was our organization is singularly focused on winning a championship. That's what they said once they fired Tom Thibodeau after Tibbs got the Knicks to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years. And if you're willing to fire the coach that got you there, and you tell your fans you are singularly focused on doing whatever it takes to win a championship, you have to ask the question, should we trade Karl-Anthony Towns? Look, the Knicks are 6-11 in their last 17 games. And you don't lose 11 of your last 17 games because of one player. I know that. I think if you're watching this show, you know that I'm not a huge fan of Mr. Towns. But I would even say there are bigger problems and more problems that the Knicks have outside of just Towns. But I think it's obvious, and it has become obvious to at least me, that Karl-Anthony Towns is not a championship-level player. Karl-Anthony Towns is not a Fetty guy. You don't close your eyes and imagine confetti falling on Towns at Madison Square Garden as they win their first championship since 1972-1973. He doesn't do enough little things. He doesn't do things that don't show up in the box score that contribute to winning. We've seen him play, over 100 games now for the Knicks? I don't need to watch any more after I already watched him for 8 years in Minnesota and realized that he was never going to win an NBA championship, especially when he's making $53.1 million this season. I think to take it a step further, all I have to say is Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, they don't work together. Cat doesn't make Brunson better, and Brunson does not make Karl-Anthony Towns better. And the 2025-2026 season, when Jalen Brunson and Cat are on the floor together, they are outscoring teams by just 1.6 points per 100 possessions. Think about that. Your best 2 players, when they're on the floor together, you only win games by 1.6 points, essentially. But in the last 17 games, they have been one of the worst duos in the NBA that gets heavy minutes. They are being outscored by their opponents by 17.7 points per 100 possessions in the last 17 games. Do we think that's just going to fix itself overnight? And you can go look at the numbers like I did last year. especially from January 1 and on. The Knicks weren't very good when Brunson and Towns were on the floor together. I think it's just this. If you don't maximize Jalen Brunson, why are you here? Because the Knicks have made it clear. This is Jalen Brunson's team. This is a Jalen Brunson organization. We are going to build around him. And that's the right thing to do. But this is Brunson's squad. And if you don't elevate Brunson and you aren't good when he's on the floor and you make $53 million, why are you here? Has anyone watched Towns and Brunson and be like, yo, those two guys maximize each other. Those two guys elevate each other. Brunson cancels out Cat's flaws and Cat's cancels out Brunson's flaws. Nobody has ever said that. Because if you watch them, it's apparent they are not an elite duo. And that's what is needed out of those two if the Knicks are going to win a championship. And it's very simple as well. The way to build around Jalen Brunson is defense. We know Brunson is a liability on defense. And this year, it has been the worst defensive year of his career. And look, I love Brunson. I don't love saying that. But he's not free of criticism either. But if you're going to have Brunson on your team, which he's a damn good player, second year in a row as an all-star starter, third year in a row being an all-star, it's not a bad idea to build around Brunson. The Knicks have gotten this far because of it. You need to build around him properly. And that's with four other guys that can defend. And another person that can handle the ball and let Brunson play off ball. Like, not only does Cat not maximize Brunson, Brunson does not maximize Cat either. And if you're going to invest to the level the Knicks have in Karl-Anthony Towns, you need that player to be a dog next to Brunson. And Cat is having arguably his worst season in the NBA ever. Like, field goal percentage, the worst it's been in 4 years. Three-point shooting, the worst it's been in 4 years. Points per game, the worst it's been in 4 years. Towns has not been an elite offensive player. And we all know that Towns is a guy that isn't a great defender, is a low defensive IQ player as well. And there used to be a time, like you only got to go to last year, where the offense was so good that it outweighed all the flaws on defense. And that's not happening anymore. It's the worst he shot from the field in 4 years. It's the worst he shot from three in the last 4 years. And if you just compare Karl-Anthony Towns last year to this year, he's been horrible offensively. His field goal percentage at the rim went from 70% last year to 60.5% this year. His field goal percentage on shots less than 10 feet last year, 60.7. This year, 55%. So he's not the same player he was from the field. He's not the same player he was from three. He's not the same player, even close to the same player he was around the rim. And he's not nearly the same player he was from 10 feet and less. Karl-Anthony Towns' offensive production no longer outweighs the defense, and it no longer outweighs all of the negative things that he brings. And there were points last year where he was unstoppable on offense. And it made you not really focus on the defensive lapses. And it made you not focus on boxing out and getting beat backdoor and not making the extra pass and all of the other things, including all of the offensive fouls. 52 offensive fouls in 2023 and 2024, first in the NBA. 49 offensive fouls last year, first in the NBA. He already has 40 offensive fouls this year, which is first in the NBA. He has 10 more offensive fouls than the second most offensive fouls for a player. 10 more. And he has 40 in 40 games played this year. He's on pace for 82 offensive fouls this year if he were to play every single game. Like, guys, we have to ask the question, is it addition by subtraction with Karl-Anthony Towns at this point? I don't know if the answer is yes, but I'm not certain the answer is no, and I feel pretty confident in saying this. Karl-Anthony Towns is not liked in that locker room. People don't love playing with Karl-Anthony Towns. I know that for a fact. And I also know that Mike Brown and Karl-Anthony Towns, they are in muddy waters right now. I'll expand on that coming up in a second. First, though, I got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Rocket Money. I want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, and that is Rocket Money. If you're looking to optimize your finances in 2026, this is the best app to help you do so. I have a couple of vacations planned this summer, and I need to start saving money right now. Thank goodness I found Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has tracked my subscriptions and found I was actually paying double for a streaming service. Rocket Money helped me cancel those extra subscriptions and save some cash. Rocket Money is also helping me budget for my vacations this summer by helping me set some spending goals each month. Now I can save a little extra money on the side each month in preparation for those trips. Thank you, Rocket Money. Get hooked up with them. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/KnicksChat. That's rocketmoney.com/KnicksChat. rocketmoney.com/KnicksChat. I think it's one thing when players don't get along, and I think it's been pretty obvious over the last 17 games, and you can go all the way to last year. Did we forget the reports that OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges didn't love the way that Karl-Anthony Towns was treated compared to them? Did we just sweep that all under the rug because Tibbs got fired, excuse me? Like, those problems still prevailed, and Mike Brown hasn't been able to get them to go away. And we know that Mike Brown has been pretty critical of Karl-Anthony Towns. Things like he said, you can't be on the ground after layups. You can't be complaining to officials. You got to run back on defense. We've all heard Karl-Anthony Towns be called out by Mike Brown in post-game pressers. It's clear that those two are not on the same page. I mean, it was reported back at the end of December. Karl-Anthony Towns and head coach Mike Brown are in good place after the early friction because there were reports that came out that Towns and Brown were not on the same page, that Mike Brown was asking Karl-Anthony Towns to do more of the grunt work on offense. And how do we know that's true? Go back to October 20th. When Karl-Anthony Towns took the podium and he was asked about his potential in the Knicks' new offense and what his role would be. And he sat there like his dog got ran over. And he said, honestly, I don't know, but we're figuring it out. From the jump, Karl-Anthony Towns and Mike Brown were not on the same page. And it was reported that they got over it. It doesn't look like it to me. This team is 6-11 in its last 17 games. And now reports are coming out from Ramona Shelburne of ESPN. People within the Knicks aren't happy that Mike Brown hugged Draymond Green after a game which Draymond committed a flagrant foul on Karl-Anthony Towns. I think it's pretty evident that Karl-Anthony Towns is a soft person. And I promise you, he didn't love that Mike Brown went and hugged Draymond Green, despite the fact that they won 3 championships together, after he made a dirty play on Cat, and that Draymond has been very vocal about how Cat is a front runner, how Cat is weak, and how Cat is soft. And shout out to Jonathan Macri of Knicks Film School, had on Stephen Bondy, who covers the Knicks covers the Knicks in the NBA. And Stephen Bondy said, more so than any other player, I've heard Cat defending and talking positively about Tibbs, even when Tibbs isn't even brought up. Does Cat want his cake and to eat it too? Did we forget that Karl-Anthony Towns is one of the players that reportedly told James Dolan he couldn't play for Tibbs anymore? And now he's defending him when he's not even in the room. I don't think Mike Brown feels that Cat wants to be a Tibbs guy. Like, to me, it's clear. They don't get along. Karl-Anthony Towns and Mike Brown do not mesh. It doesn't work. Just like it doesn't work with Towns and Brunson. And I can tell you this, OG Anunoby doesn't like Karl-Anthony Towns. OG doesn't notice that Cat doesn't play defense? Notice the way OG's been defending in the last 17 games. Guys like, oh shit, if Cat doesn't got to defend and Brunson doesn't got to defend, why do I got to defend? Like, I think it's pretty clear what's going on right now. Are the Knicks going to be completely fine if they trade? Is everything going to turn back around if the Knicks trade Cat? No, I don't know. I don't think that. But I also think it could. And the Knicks can't afford to sit on their hands. Their owner just went on the radio 2 weeks ago and said this is a championship-level team, and we better get to the NBA Finals. And that this is a team that has great locker room chemistry. Maybe he was lying, because anyone that's been watching this team knows that that is not the truth. So there were 4 teams mentioned by Steve Popper that have been in trade talks with the Knicks: Grizzlies, Magic, Hornets, and Bucks. So what can the Knicks do? How can they make a trade happen? Let's start with the Grizzlies. Can you find a way to get Jaren Jackson Jr. to the Knicks? I think if you could roll with a lineup of Jaren Jackson Jr., OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Brunson, it's a pretty good core 4. I might even say that Jaren Jackson's a better player than Karl-Anthony Towns. Much more defensive-minded. Not nearly the same player on offense. Maybe the Knicks need that. Maybe the Knicks need another defensive player like Jaren Jackson. Then you look at the Orlando Magic. You got to get to $53.1 million. How are the Knicks going to make a trade happen with the Orlando Magic? I'm honestly not sure. They're not trading Franz Wagner. They're not trading Desmond Bane. They're not trading Jalen Suggs. They're not trading Paolo Banchero. Can you find a way to, I don't even know how you get to $53 million outside of that. I don't know if there's a way. Jonathan Isaac makes $15 million. You're still $30 million short. I don't know how that would happen. And I kind of think the same thing with the Charlotte Hornets. You look at their cap sheet. Are the Knicks trading for LaMelo Ball, who makes $37 million? Are they trading for Miles Bridges for $25? Colin Sexton for $18? I don't even know how you get to $53 million there. Maybe for the Hornets and maybe for the Magic, it's a 3-team trade. That would make sense. And kind of the only sense is I look at their roster. And then you get to the Bucks. Is a Giannis Antetokounmpo trade still possible? Could you make it happen? Cat knows that you offered him in a trade for Giannis. Maybe that was the downfall of this relationship. I don't know. If you can go get Giannis, you do it. If you got to trade Cat, OG, and Bridges, I do that as well. Anyone can go for Giannis outside of Jalen Brunson. That's how I feel. And I do think if you could build a team around Jalen Brunson and Giannis, it's got a much higher ceiling than Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns and whoever the Knicks have on this roster. Giannis, once again, was very non-committal about his future with the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis, last night, on how confident he is that he'll finish the season with Milwaukee, says, I don't know. I take it day by day. This comes a week after Giannis was booed at home by Bucks fans. And he booed them back, Julius Randle style, and gave him the thumbs down. Are we sure Giannis is going to stay a Buck this year? Trade deadline's 2-3 weeks away. We'll see. Maybe the Knicks should pick up the phone and call the Bucks back and say, anything you need, I gotcha. Because I think that may be the only way you save this season. And even then, still a question mark. What's your confidence level in the Knicks to turn this around? 6-11 in your last 17. And I'll just pull it up here. The Knicks are also a team that is not playing well. Go to standings. The Knicks in their last 10 are 2-8. You have 25 wins. The seventh placed Cleveland Cavs have 24 wins. So you're 1 win ahead of a team that's in the play-in tournament. I hope they turn it around. I don't know if they will. How confident are you? Scale 1 to 10, 1 being you're not confident, 10 the most confidence. Sound off for me. Make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, @MarshallGreen_.